Hello there, I am Gifty Auntie and welcome to TSP with Gifty Auntie. March is the month, yes, where we celebrate women from all, and my guest today, in fact, she can represent all sectors of women when it comes to education, when it comes to zongo, when it comes to farming, when it comes to corporate, when it comes everything. She's a wealth of knowledge, of information. You know, I've said before that it's not every story that is written in the book. That is why this program is about capturing the untold stories of women from wherever. You may know her for what she does, for what she says, for what she stands for, but what is her story? Ladies and gentlemen, my guest for today is the one and only Bashiratu Kamal. We can call her Basket. Bash, good to see you.
Good to see you again.
You know that whenever I see you, give me so much energy.
Whenever I see you and your team, I'm refreshed.
See, I'll be my rap song.
It's so good to be back on the show, as always.
And This is the first time I'm going to do one. So you're going to have a conversation.
Hey,
kindly take your seat. I'm coming. So tell someone to tell someone. They're the one and only, the president of the Humble Wives Association.
Violence.
Yes, she's here. So please, we are going to have a conversation. Let me say thank you to Amazing Grace Enterprise for my fabric. They are at Studio Opposite Fire Service. My outfit is by Eminent Fashions. Thank you so much to them. Hair by Esnash. Thank you so much. Makeup, the Glow Bar and makeup products, Sigma Health and Beauty. They are at Mokola. They are the original and authentic and quality importers and distributors of Maybelline products. Thank you so much to them. And of course, my beads by Twinny Craft, earring and ring by the boy Fashions. We take a break. When we come back, I get to talk to my very own Bashiratu, my boss. Yes, she's my boss. Why is it? Gifty, we want to do this. I say, okay, because I don't want to wahala. We'll be back. Welcome back to TSP with me, Gifty Auntie, and it's already getting exciting. Again, let me say thank you to Vena Mineral Water. pH level balanced, sodium low, all the minerals that you need in water, good quality water is in there. And they believe in giving back to society, sharing love and changing lives. They also produce Bigo drinks, and so far my favorite is the moringa and ginger. I'm afraid to say it because I know somebody who take who take what is left away. My favorite is the moringa, but all the brands are, all the variants, all the the community, they are very nice. The orange, the cola, the berry, the coconut. Try them. They're just amazing. And then we also say thank you to Juice Time, 100% fruit juice from the farm to the factory, to the bottle, to the shelf. They do it themselves, the whole chain. So you can trust that when they say it's 100% fruit juices, it is. We are grateful to EcoBoost for also coming on board. I tell you, for your efficient running of your car and management of your fuel, just make sure you use EcoBoost. Kidsville, where every child's dream comes true. They are on the Spinkters Road. That's the Kidsville Mall. Easter is coming. And in fact, every week there's something special going on. So pass through, especially on weekends, and get something exciting for your kids, from toys to books to bags to party gifts and party plates and spoons, what have you. anything, and they do backdrops and set up for parties as well for kids. So you contact them and they will sort you out. Now, to my guest today, the one and only, she is a unionist, she's a feminist, she's an activist and advocate, she's a mother, she is a mentor, she's an author. Her articles have been published in many international books. She's well educated. She's about to do her PhD. That one is from me. Yes, to her, the pressure is on. And she is Bashiratu Kamal. Bash.
I like the prophecy.
Amen. In the prophecy, it shall come to pass.
Amen.
Inshallah. You don't have a choice. That's the thing. As for you, know it's that you don't have a choice.
Amen.
Because the people who are looking up to you for you to get this PhD. Even when, during the tough times, you did was it master's or MBA?
I did the diploma.
The diploma.
Before the master.
Before the master. You did it. So how much more now? You go fit do them. Good to see you.
Yes. Happy New Year again.
Happy New Year this year. That's true. That's true. How have you been?
Surviving. Surviving, still running around very early in the year, trying to see what will happen for this year as always. But it's well. Alhamdulillah, we have life.
Is traveling your hobby?
No, it has never been. In fact, when I was growing up, I remember when I tell people the story, they laugh. There was a time that my parents wanted me to travel so much after senior high school. That time, everybody's child, UK, US, this. And for us, the dream was for me to travel and to go and hustle.
Right.
So around that time, that was not when we were doing biometrics. So it was a normal, you take a picture and then.
Yeah.
So they kept trying. They tried UK, they tried US, they tried France, they tried whatever. Then when I go to the embassy and I'm bounced the visa, then I call my dad and say that they didn't give me. Then he says, okay, by the time I get to Kumasi, they are ready to do another passport. So I had a lot of passports. Then recently when we were moving from one house to the other, and I remember my husband chanced on about 4 or 5 of those passports. And but what have you been using? I said, no, not what have I been? What did I use all these for? I said, you don't know, there's a story behind it. Yeah. So it was not to travel around, but actually to travel for greener pastures.
Yes.
Make money.
Make money.
More
and
money.
Come for your other siblings.
Yeah, but it's the story.
How many siblings do you have?
We have 5. 1 boy, and then I'm the oldest girl. And I have 3 girls.
Behind you. So you are not the first one, but you are the first girl.
Yes.
They say first girls always, have to play the role of mothers.
Hey.
Sometimes they lose their childhood.
You don't want to know. My mother, for whatever reason, because I actually asked her, my late mom, I asked her one day if she did family planning. And she said no, she never did, because the intervals so huge.
Okay.
So the one who comes after me, I'm 9 years older than her.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And then she is 6 years older than the next one. And then she's also 6 years older than the next one. So one has to be older to take care of the other one. So because of the intervals, the last baby, a lot of people still think that that's my first child. A lot of people think that. Because, after my mom gave birth and after her 40th day, I became the primary caregiver for her. But I've been taking care of my other siblings because my mom was a businesswoman.
Right.
So she would travel to Lagos and other places to bring goods, and we'll be left alone with our dad, yes.
Did you think it affected your, your childhood? Did you lose something?
Unfortunately, no. Also because, we lived in a compound house.
Okay.
So it was not private like now, the new ways of living. So it's a very big compound house. It was actually my grandfather's. So with about around 2000, when they did the population census, there were almost about 100 children in the house.
Right.
You know, and then not inclusive of parents.
Parents.
So even though you are the primary, you become a primary when you enter your room. But when you are in the house, everybody takes care of the other person. Yes.
Okay.
But when we go to the room or to go and cook and stuff, then it's you.
Okay.
But in terms of playing, you get people to also care for them. When the one of the two, Aisha, when Aisha, the first day she went to school, I took her to school, registered her, and then I went to school. And in fact, that day I remember my uncles were wild on me because after my mom traveled, because of her, I was not going to school. I didn't attend school for like a week. So the subsequent week, they asked me why I was not going to school. And I said, I'm taking care of Aisha. Then my uncle said, so that is the reason why you can't go to school. I said, yes. They said, okay. So there was this school in our area called Abease.
Okay.
So there was this palm tree that someone had come to start this daycare. So one morning, Monday morning, my uncle just got up and said, we are going to school. So they went and registered Aisha and asked me to go to school. I went to school at 12. I ran away to go and check up on her. So I'll go and sit somewhere. And then when they come out, I'll ask her, you know, and I wept. For 2 days, I couldn't stay in class because I was really worried about her. You know. But subsequently, she became fine. But I mean, it's been quite a journey, and it taught me so much, actually, how we have to care for each other and support each other.
I'm sure my, crew even here are shocked about your soft side. That's the side of you. That's what I wanted. That's the side of you that most people don't know.
Yeah.
The soft, the compassionate, the empathy, the loving side of you that a lot of people don't know. But what makes you angry? Are you an angry person?
No, I am not. I'm not at all. I mean, emotions are not attached to what you write sometimes because even though people read it and they feel it, but you don't see the emotions of the writer sometimes. So when you put something out, people may think that you are writing this out of a place of pain, but might not be. Also because when you do this job for a very long time, you become accustomed to certain things. So you don't care what people think about how you feel, especially when it's about righting certain wrongs in society. But I'm not an angry person. In fact, I'm very jovial. Very, very jovial. And then I play around a lot. And a lot of people think that I don't have serious stuff happening in my life because, I mean, she's not serious. She's not serious.
They should come and ask me.
But I'm not an angry person.
I'm even fortunate to have you here today. I kept asking you, we are sure. Are you sure you'll be around? Are you sure you'll be around?
I was supposed to go to the field. I told my colleague, they asked for this one. I'm begging you. Let's hang it till next week.
How's the experience like to be on the field? You are the gender focal person for the Ghana Agric Women Workers Union. It's not women, Workers Union. You are the gender focal person. How is it like going on the field to interact with the women, farmers?
It's tough, because you get to experience life in the lenses of others. You get to experience the stories that you hear and read and see on TV. You get to appreciate who you are as a person, and you get to wake up in the morning, being on the field, saying Alhamdulillah, because you see how some people are living, and then you can only but say Alhamdulillah for life and for what I have. Sometimes, you don't appreciate what Allah has done for you until you actually come into close proximity with what people are going through. But that's community work. But when it comes to working with workers, it's something we always look up to because you represent people. People go to work for something, and then you go to the workplace. Then you are helping people to get better conditions of service in terms of salary, in terms of ensuring that whatever they get at the end of the day, at least for nothing at all, they are able to sustain their families with it for some time. And they are able to be part of the community. It's really, really passionate. And we are also excited because at the end of the day, everybody has a different means of calling when it comes to people saying that God has called me.
Right.
But we are called for different purposes, and we see this as part of that with the work that we do. Yeah.
But still on the field, because one of the things that I think we have in common is we try to have fun wherever we find ourselves. So you make the field work seem very enjoyable and fun. You with these women, and the women with their children on the farm and everything. But what gives you the satisfaction to keep doing this?
Because you see changes. You go and then you hear stories about how what you came to do the other time has changed somebody's life all of a sudden. Then you are motivated to do more. And there are different categories of people. So as part of being an adult educator too, you have to find very creative means to sustain people's interest. Because, imagine someone has gone to work at 4 a.m. or 3 a.m. and then you start engaging the person at 2 when they are supposed to go home to sleep and to take care of their family and their business. You have to really sustain that interest for the person to sit, and not just sit and watch you, but participate in what you have to do. Then we also let people understand that when it comes to care work, even though it's not valued in Ghana, it should be everybody's responsibility. So one of the ways that we've done this is that when I was having children, I would travel with my children to the field. So you would see me with my baby strapped to my back, teaching.
Okay.
And then maybe doing advocacy work and clapping and dancing and all of that, by way of motivating other women to not give me an excuse the next time I'm coming with their children. So sometimes you end up having a lot of children in the room when you are maybe doing an education or training session, or you are doing a sensitization session with them on the field.
Right.
So people only need to see that it's possible, not just hear it.
Right.
And then they will immediately also emulate
So
it.
it's not just talking, but also dirty your hands and really getting involved.
Yeah, there was a time we went to the field with someone who was asking us, so how are we going to eat? How are we going to do this? And we said, don't worry. So you get there and then you arrange with some people before you realize you get maybe cassava cooked, and then you all sit around and you eat and all of that. And we told the person that it's not like we cannot bring food, but to identify with the people, you must be them. And you shouldn't let them see you faking it. You must really be them, and before you realize, they will open up to you. So when we go to the field, we don't dress. We are in our sneakers, our jeans, and casual, playing together, singing and dancing and all of that. If you don't identify with the people, definitely they will never identify with you.
Yeah.
So,
and as being a woman, I guess you had to be intentional about this and come up with innovative ways of always making this
very intentional. There have been times when we have to hire people to care for children whilst we do our thing with the women in communities or even at the workplace.
Yeah. How would you say is the plight of women in agric in Ghana?
This is difficult, but most of it are visible. There are a lot of challenges that women face. One of such, unlike other sectors, on agric farms, you can't put up a toilet facility. For instance, let's just say toilet, basic.
Right.
So imagine going to the farm, and this one is, let's say, formal sector.
Right.
And then you are on the plantation working and you have colleagues who are there. So they go in teams. So this team goes here, this team goes here, this team goes there. And then you have to pee as a woman, It's not like you can't easily pee in the bush, but you don't know who is around. And people need to take care of themselves. And then imagine if you are menstruating and at some point you need to change your sanitary pad, but then you don't wear skirt or long dresses, but you wear trousers. And for those who will wear overall, for instance, how do you change over with your pad? And even if after changing, you can't throw it on the farm. like that. It's not allowed. That's one thing. And then even in the informal sectors, there are a lot of issues. I mean, more travel routes, a pregnant woman having to go to the farm, and having access to basic stuff on the farm is a challenge. When it rains, the road that you are actually trying to maneuver small becomes horrible. And if you have a child with you, it becomes something else. We've been to communities where we travel like an hour, you don't see a single car. And then you are coming back, you don't meet a single car. And then you are wondering how people travel, to their homes and then to the farm and to other communities. But they have been surviving.
Yeah.
They've been surviving. Then access to financing, for instance. So for that, there have been a lot of initiatives around cooperatives and then village savings and loans, what we popularly call VSLA. So that it will be like Susu sort of thing, where you can borrow and then pay with a little interest. Then maybe for some people, they do every market day. After selling, people bring money. For some people, they do every day. Even some people try to do food stuff.
Right.
So you contribute with food stuff and they sell. And then they keep the money for the group. Because some of the banks, it's still difficult for the women to access loans. Obviously, issues related to having immovable properties as collateral.
Right.
Then even having someone to go and guarantee for you may be a challenge for them. Then even when it comes to agricultural inputs like fertilizers and other things, there are middlemen all over the place. So how are you going to get it? And now even that, they at some point politicized it too. Yeah, so some people will come and they would want you to produce your membership card. And then they will give it to some executive for the executives to distribute. And then before you realize, before it gets to maybe, let's say, 100 women, 2 for you to share. Then when it's time for harvesting, like if it's rice farmers, for instance, the combined harvester is expensive. So you can't obviously buy it. If you don't have money, you can't go and rent. So sometimes people put themselves into groups. And then the hiring cost is per day. So if it works on 4 farms a day and the money you put together is finished, you are dead. So mostly it is the women who suffer these challenges. Then climate change is also another issue. Irrigation challenges.
Wow.
Yeah, so.
Wow. And this is her unionist side, We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll look at the activism, side of her. And then, of course, as a mother, as an educator, and chief violence. Yesterday, I called her the chief V. The chief V. But do you like Aluta? You like Aluta? Which unionist doesn't like Aluta?
Sitting here, if I hear, hey, Choboy there. Major Ohako. I love it. When there is gidi in town, sometimes my husband, when there's gidi in Accra, like demonstration or something, then my husband will call me on phone to ask, how are you? Were you in the office? Oh, yeah, I'm in the office. Okay, fine. Then I'll ask, what is the problem? I'm seeing some demonstrators on TV, so you cannot be in the office. I don't trust you to be in the office, But I'll say, oh, no, today they're my busy. I'm in the office. I couldn't go. But they know me that, I'll jump on.
Why?
I like. God gave all of us mouth, but not all of us can use it equally.
Yeah.
And we all have a voice, but not everybody can use that voice on behalf of others.
Yes.
So, and if in the end everyone decides to use it, society will be chaotic. So there are some people who have to do that on behalf of their masses. And that is why we do all of this. And life will be a little easier if we are all okay.
Yeah.
I'll sleep. Nobody will call me that they are in trouble.
Yeah.
And I will eat. Nobody will call me they are hungry. And I'll get money, count it and be feeling good, knowing that nobody will call me that they need money for something. That's why we do what we do. So that all of us can be, okay. It's not a good thing for people to be at a vulnerable place.
Can you sing that your union song?
Which one?
There
are a lot. The Aluta, you want Aluta one?
No, the Aluta one with the women. The one when you went to South Africa, was it South Africa? You were singing with the women.
Is it My Mother?
I think so.
My mother was a kitchen girl.
Yes, that one.
Ayaba, yaba,
Ayaba, yaba. Ayaba,
yeah,
yaba.
that's my mentee's song, eh?
Yeah.
So it goes like this. Ayaba, yaba, 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 yaba. Ayaba, yaba, 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 yaba. Ayaba, yaba, 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 yaba. Ayaba, ya. We are the beautiful women. Ayaba, yaba, 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 yaba. Ayaba, yaba, 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 yaba. Ayaba, yaba, 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 yaba. Ayaba, ya. We are the buffalo soldiers. Ayaba. So it goes like that. So depending on what words you want to put in the song.
Oh, okay.
Then you just insert it.
Okay, so the basics is the yaba yaba.
Yes.
And what does the yaba yaba mean?
Hey, unless I ask Aggie. Unless I ask Aggie.
On that note, we'll take a break. When we come back, I want to find out that where was she? There's Bashiratu everywhere. Everywhere, leading everything. I mean, you can't encounter her without being impacted in one way. Love her or hate her. She's Bashke, and she'll really, in your face kind of person. How did she just suddenly surface? Where was she hiding? We'll take a break. Again, let me say thank you to Juice Time, to House of Food, Auntie Vera. Thank you so much. Yep Cleaning Services. They make sure our environment is always clean. Zen Gardens, natural plants everywhere. She goes to the bush most of the time, so she loves plants. Thank you so much to them. And of course, London Foods. We are grateful to you. We'll be back. Welcome back to TSP with me, Gifty Auntie, and we are grateful to EcoBoost. You see this thing? Yeah, you just pour it into your fuel tank, before filling, or even after you filled it, and it helps you so much, to efficiently manage your fuel. Keeps your fuel tank to clean most of the time. We're also grateful to Kidsville, Everything Kids. It's at Kidsville Mall on the Spainters Road, adjacent Noble House. We're so grateful to them. Venat Mineral Water. Thank you. And then, of course, Bigo Drinks. I've been talking to Bashiratu Kamal, who is a unionist, who is an advocate, an activist, a feminist, and then a mother and a wife as well, as doing many things. But what's the greatest sacrifice you've made in terms of family?
Hey.
Your husband and children, especially the children.
I think going to school. Yeah. I think that will be. But otherwise, every day I've had to, and they've had to do it. It's painful, but the other time I was telling someone, when we were growing up, we didn't see role models. In fact, I don't remember having one other than those we were seeing on TV. And I was telling someone, you were one, Selma Valcott, those days, Akushika.
Yeah.
So those were the role models we were seeing. But in terms of where we grew up, seeing people aspiring, yes. So I recognize that. So if it was difficult for me, does it have to be difficult for those everybody after me? That narrative needs to be changed, and it needs to be done by someone. So for that, there's a price to pay. And the sacrifices. When I was leaving for school in Canada in 2017, my daughter was just about, I think, 3 years at the time, and I left. And then I came back in December. Then in July, I left for the US for my master's. So I just came back for a very short time, and then I left for another year again and came back. So it's been difficult ever since. I'm being a little bit intentional now. Like I always tell them, anytime I decide to go back to school again, we will all have to go together.
I was going to say, is that why you are delaying the PhD? Does it scare you sometimes?
Yeah, it does.
Leaving them behind and all that, because
especially after my mom's demise, because my mom, I mean, you understand that she will make that sacrifice, but I cannot tell my sisters and my husband to halt what they are doing just for me.
Right.
You know, but my mom, because she was an informal woman, has a shop and other things, it was really easy for her. But I can't tell my sisters to go and do informal jobs because they have to also support me with my care responsibilities that society has bestowed on us. But I mean, alhamdulillah, all of them have been to school. Two of them are working. One is in her final year at tech.
Okay.
And the kids are also doing fine. But
that's your firstborn, your younger sister.
yes, she's in the final year. But you know, the reason why it's become especially difficult for me now is because of what I'm being exposed to in work. So it's become really difficult to take that decision to leave the kids alone. I get worried and sometimes very apprehensive. One time my husband called me and told me that the way I'm behaving is not right. I have to stop, you know, being very critical about certain things, asking certain questions, you know, asking.
But because you have a reason to.
Exactly.
You've been attacked before, then you've become a target many times.
So it's tough because you are exposed to cases of abuse of children on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Defilement, boys, girls, by adults, pedophiles, predators everywhere. So it's very worrying.
Yeah.
Because
and some of the cases are from people close.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So to be honest with you, it's become a thing of worry to me, how I behave sometimes, because I have to ask all the questions to the kids and I sometimes feel bad, but it's necessary.
Yeah.
And you become extra careful. And then you start suspecting everybody around you.
Especially when a fresh case comes to you.
Everybody around you is a suspect.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
That's the other part of the job we do.
Yes. That's what people don't get inside. The trauma. You know, somebody once, described it to me. Everybody comes to dump their rubbish on you.
But who is taking care of your own emotional and mental health? It's a very challenging thing. And sometimes you just have to shut down.
Yeah.
So that people call you, you don't pick. People send you messages, you are scared to open.
Right.
Like Facebook DM. Sometimes it takes me 3, 4 months, 5 months. I don't go there. Because whenever you go there, there's a case of abuse. Someone's husband has beaten her, battery, assault cases, defilement cases, and people are sending you all of this. It's traumatizing, very traumatizing. And that's when we all realize that even for activists, you need to take care of yourself sometimes. You need to speak to someone.
Yeah.
Because these things can drive you crazy at some point in the work.
Yeah. And aside that, the kind of personal attacks because of what you do. How do you deal with that?
Oh, I've gotten to a point where it doesn't get to me again. I don't care about it. And people know. I mean, I don't care. So you get very close associates and family who will call you very worried and obviously very angry. But then you are laughing and they are like, are you all right? Are you serious at all? I'm like, yeah. You know, every profession has its ills. And it's always better for you to know what it is.
Yeah.
So that it will not be why you stop doing the work you do. But if you decide to run away because of those attacks, you will definitely not get to your destination.
Yeah.
And not getting to your destination means that you are not the only one who is going to lose, but multitudes of people who would have benefited from you would have also lost out. So for me, I mean, I don't care. It's normal to be a prostitute. After all, people are doing sex work legally in other countries. You know,
it's normal to be attacked for sleeping around.
Exactly, it's normal
to be disrespectful.
Frustrated,
to be frustrated and bitter.
Exactly, and when people don't even know your marital status, they are divorcee.
Yeah,
you know, or you are not getting a man to marry you.
Yeah,
the people. One of the things is also that the people who have been ahead of us in this work, our mentors and our coaches, they've not died from those insults. They didn't lose money because of those insults. They are who they are. and we see them and we want to be like them. So why would I let all these attacks get to me?
Right.
You know, if it gets to me, I will not get to that destination I'm looking up to.
Right.
So I normalize all these things, and I have actually psyched people close to me. Like
Right.
my husband doesn't care.
Right.
I mean, people will insult me on Facebook. He will call me and say, "Well, where did the atom no?" Then we would laugh over it, you know. And I mean, I write posts, and people used to screenshot my post and send it to him. And then he will tell them off. And then it got to a time where sometimes when I make those very controversial posts, he shares them. So nobody sends anything to him again.
Because he's seen it.
Exactly. Because once you've seen that he has shared, what are you going to send to him again? So people stopped. That was a very good strategy, actually.
Totally, yeah.
So people stopped sending screenshots of my stuff to him.
You know, Bash, that's one thing. You touch on something. Your generation and the generation that's coming see what has been done to the older generation. So they come in like, you know what you're going in for.
Ready.
It doesn't make it any easier anyway. But that generation and then my generation didn't see this, you know. 13 February was 28 years, my 28 years of being in media, in the public space. And I was just recounting that from day one that I appeared on TV, 13 February 1997. They insulted me, now they insulted me. That time mobile phones were not, you know, it had just started coming into the country. Then text messages came. We were cartooned in the newspapers. I was discussing mainstream television and then radio and so on. Till date, to the extent that people even go to my post, take it and make it stories.
Yeah.
And then you wonder. So you can imagine those people, how they've had to deal with mental torture, trauma, embarrassment, stigma, and everything, you know, till date.
And they are there.
And they are there.
So for me, I tell people that the price of certain things have been paid on our behalf already.
Yeah.
So I will not let anybody make me pay again. It's already been paid by the shoulders on which we have stood to be who we are today. You know, the older ones, Benesam, Auntie Rose, Amida, Ma Esther, Ofe Techiwa Menu, Akosia. They have been through horrible stuff.
Yeah.
They've paid that price for us. So I will not let you derail me because you want me to go back to pay that price.
What made you get into feminism?
You know, what people don't know is that when I completed senior high school, I was telling you about the passport issue.
Yeah.
So when that didn't work out, I ended up in the market with my mom. So I completed senior high in 2000. I only went back to school in 2006, 2005, 2006 academic year. So
you stayed home for over a year.
I'm very popular in Kumasi Central Market.
That's right.
Say Mbubu market and then Menura market will be out everybody. You see how big that market is. Because I mean, I was going to the shop with my mom selling. Na me bodon komi. Na me swanioma. You know, when those days, not China, it has come fresh. So when they bring the goose, no more jar price in him. No akwaji. Your friend maso. No apadoma. So you go and sell a day if you are where you can sell like 5 cartons stuff, and then you get your faswa, you go and pay for the original price. So I was doing that for a very long time, you know. And I saw my mom. My mom was a businesswoman. So my mom would travel, go and bring her goods, sell it, go back. So for me, women's economic empowerment, I saw what it did for us growing up. I'll probably not be where I am today, but for that,
right?
You know, so after being in the market, seeing all sorts of things, and when I finally decided to go back to school, because at the time when I wanted to, my dad took me to, when I went to secondary school, my dad wanted me to be a medical doctor.
Okay.
If he watches this, I'm sure he will be angry all over again. So he took me to the science class. In fact, because of medicine, that is why I didn't go to St. Louis. Because St. Louis gave me visual arts. And then my dad got me science at TechSec, KNUST Secondary. And then he took me there. Then I went to the science class. So I stayed in the science class for a whole term, but I didn't like science. And the subsequent term, which was the second term, halfway through that term, I said I didn't want it again. So I rented a mother from a Zongo.
You rented a mother?
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
From a Zongo
at
the time. Who was my friend's mother.
Okay.
My friend was also in the science class. So the woman came, and then my dad and mama now fine. And she agreed. She went with me to the headmaster. And that is how I switched from science to general arts. The condition I was given by the headmaster was that if I go to the general arts class and I don't come from 1st to 10th, I'll go back to science. Because in science, 1st to 10th, I was inside. So I
Though you didn't like it.
Though I didn't like it. So he said he was convinced that I have to stay there. So when I went to the science class, I was not joking. I made sure, all this while my father didn't know. So I made sure that and I think that term I was sit in the class. Then the term was over. I told my mom that I've left the science class. Now I am in arts. She didn't know what to say, but I told her I can't, the science, I don't like it. And I don't want to waste all those years for nothing. So the third term went by, I didn't say anything. Then second year, towards the end of the second year, I had to tell my dad, because if you finish school, he will know that you ran away. So I had to tell him, hey, for a whole year, not be small. It was not easy. You know those days where your mom, you use single room, where they will use curtains. Man can be passing and just butu crack for living, yes, you know, but I told him that he cannot live his dreams through me. When he has other children, he can try that on them. But for me, I am not interested in the science. So after school, I wanted to go to journalism school. And he said he wanted me to go to the university. Because honestly, in our community, all they know is university. So, Uko Journalism School at the time, they were not doing degree programs. So, how are you going to tell people that my child has also gone Taje school? When it's school, it's not a university, it's what? What is he doing there? You know, so that also dragged on for some time until finally, he ujai my life, mommy, that I can go on. Then, I remember when I got admission, there is this guy who comes to supply goods to my mom at the time. My mom used to sell stainless steel bowls. So when my mom told him that Bashiratu school, Bashiratu wait, now school okoye the way okwa kind, okobodo nkomi wa class. And I say okodaika, and now okoye den. Oh, my man in school. And here. You know, and my mom said, "Udi obegu weni masi obekwa abanso." Then there was a time I went out with my now husband, and I met a classmate of mine who we were in senior secondary school together. So in chatting, he was like, so where are you now? And I was like, where am I now? Like what? He said, oh, school work, because he had completed university, finished national service, and then was looking for a job. I told him I'm in the market selling. You know, and he was like, oh, no, that's not true. I'm like, that is true. And he turned to ask, who are you? He said, oh, then he said, yes, so then my classmate told my husband that, girl, we didn't home fast word that one man school. So it's not your fast for papa bia one home. But say, mu forcing and us oku school, mu benyam fast wa, ebi a mekrami bibi. But at least, Mubenya no home fast. So he was also very intentional about giving me pressure to go back to school. He gave me a lot, and my father was also giving me pressure at the time. So I had no choice. Coming was difficult. After 6 years. It was very difficult, but I came to school, and here I am today. After school, you go for news reporting. And then every day I was on TV.
Hey, Bash, I didn't know this side of you.
Reporter, share.
I know you are a reporter. So you went to GIJ?
I went to JE.
JE. Really?
Yes.
So which media houses do you wear?
So I did Zuria FM in Kumasi. Then I
Okay.
did Chronicle.
Chronicle.
For some time. Yes.
Wow.
I did Chronicle for some time. That's
I
where
didn't know
I
this
did my
story.
internship. National Service too, I was with them. Then after National Service, then I decided to call it quits totally. Then join the women's movement. So that's how I became a feminist. So in school, I
Wow.
was a student politician. So Okujata Black West election in Nooks at the time, I was part of the people who went there as a delegate from my school. You know, so I was in student politics in my school on campus. And then I became the project and program secretary for Ghana Union of Professional Students.
Okay.
And then subsequently contested and won as the Nooks Women's Commissioner in 2008, 2009. So being the Nooks Women's Commissioner is what landed me with the women's movement.
Right.
At that time, Auntie Amida, Bantu,
Yeah.
they were doing this mentorship stuff with young people, and then they introduced us, and I got stuck. So after school, after doing the journalism for some time, I was like, no, I'm leaving.
This is where I want to be.
Yeah, so I went fully. Then my mother, Auntie Esther Estofia Abuaje, at some point took me in. So I was with her at ILGS with Auntie Magdalene.
Right.
Auntie Magdalene had this organization that she was the focal person for. So as part of mentorship by Auntie Esther, I was there for 6 months. Then that's where I got the interest for the women's thing. Then I got introduced to the trade union. I was like, no, I think I should go here because there are more issues here, which are direct that I can deal with hands-on. Because the trade unions is not just advocacy. Everything is there. So advocacy, policy making, everything. And you are on the table. You are this, you are that. And then you are making laws because of the collective agreements we do with these companies. So you can talk about it and make it happen and ensure that it is done. So I ended up with the trade unions.
So solution-oriented.
Yes.
Identifying the problem and being in a position to also help
influence change, and being in the position to make sure that it is being implemented.
Bashira, the girl born vocal. From the marketplace, what was the name of the market?
Kumasi Central Market.
Kumasi Central Market.
Kumasi Jom.
Kumasi Jom.
Kumasi Jom.
Hot proper.
Park as for like chance just you and Pabwe just you.
Oh, I
know as I said, my spirit will never leave. My spirit has never left the market. My husband is a market person.
Okay.
So he's also very popular in the Kumasi Central Market. But he's executive crowd.
Okay, so it was in the blood. Both Alutabo, it's Gaza, your mad friend.
Yes. He's also an executive of one of the biggest, I think it's the biggest association.
And in all these that you do, but that you had time to get pregnant 4 times.
Hey, this matter. If I tell you my pregnancy story, my pregnancy didn't come when I was very wild. You know, after JE, I went back to Zenith University.
Okay.
I did human resource as a bachelor's.
Okay.
So when I was entering Zenith, I was 6 months pregnant. I remember at the time I didn't even want to go because of the pregnancy. My husband was like, you know, if you don't go, you will never go. Because you give birth and you say, Aklani Kakra. So I was a bit, but I went. So I gave birth 2 days to exams. I remember very well. It was very tough.
Bashiratu.
Then, by the time I will graduate, I was writing my last paper, and I'm 7 months pregnant. So I have a teacher. I have a teacher, that time our head of department, Daniel. Daniel used to call me one in, one out. So those are the 2 kids I have, but I have other adopted kids.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so biologically you have 2.
A boy and a girl.
A boy and a girl. I see. That's you've traveled at a you still not that old, but you've traveled.
Yes, I have.
You have traveled and you seem to, despite the challenge, you have enjoyed the journey.
Oh, I have. I mean,
and you know, taking in the experiences and everything.
What we are is because of what we've been through.
Yeah.
To be honest.
You know, at this point, I have to pause here. There's so much to this woman that we have to digest. We have to capture, you know, the untold story. So we'll have to take a break here. And next week, we'll continue with the conversation. Thanks for watching. Remember this TSP with Gifty Auntie, where we capture and tell stories of women wherever we find them. See you next week. And why were you not going? Is it because of financial challenges, or you really didn't want to go? You wanted to help your mother?
At some point, it started with the argument with my dad about what I would do. Whether I would do the university or I would do a journalism course. Because at the time, no university was doing journalism.
Yeah.
Then it's degenerated into financial issues.
Okay.
You know, this market, there are ups and downs. So at some point, my mom had serious issues.
Yeah.
And my dad also had serious issues. So there were no finances. And I told you, my siblings, now I'm young. So I thought it was also part of my responsibility to hustle in the market with my mom to support the family.
Right.
So that went on for some time, like 2 years and all. But when I was in school, I was actually selling.
You were still selling?
Yeah, when we vacate, I'll go back to the market to go and sell so that I can make some money down for fees and then for hostel, then for provisions and for pocket money and all of that. I was still doing it.
Wow. And another thing is, women have it tough. But if we're to be candid, women from the Muslim community maybe have it double tough. Because you being very vocal, very outspoken, very opinionated, being passionate, you being a sharpshooter, how do you fit in your community?
So I have a simple rule. If you don't like me, no problem. I like myself. So I don't mind coming to a place where nobody wants to sit with me. And I'll still sit somewhere. And I'll still make the noise and be heard anyway. So I don't care. And I am not too much of a person who wants acceptance. No, I don't care about that. And once you have that mindset, you are just moving like that. But when you care, you keep looking over your shoulders all the time to wonder, who is looking at me? What are they saying about me? So it stalls the journey. You don't move as fast.